Maybe there's an image, light through a curtain, a bed, a teddy bear, a world that was supposed to feel safe. And most of the time, everything looked fine from the outside, maybe even good. And yet, there were moments when something didn't add up. You just couldn't name it. Unmasked psychology. See clearly. Live freely. We've talked about gaslighting on this channel before, the 5 stages. Gaslighting in relationships. But today, we go somewhere deeper than any relationship. To the beginning. Gaslighting by a partner is painful. But you had a self that existed before that relationship. An identity you could fall back on. Gaslighting by a parent is different. It doesn't attack who you are. It shapes who you become. And that's exactly why so many people never recognize it. This video is not a judgment. It's not about blame. It's about patterns, often passed down unconsciously across generations. Intergenerational trauma. And you can only change a pattern once you see it. One important note. The term gaslighting is used in different ways in psychology. In this video, we mean a recurring pattern where a child's perception is repeatedly questioned or invalidated, not necessarily with intent, but with impact. Section 1. How parental gaslighting shows up today. Before we talk about childhood, let's talk about now. Because most people aren't searching for their past. They're searching for an explanation for what they're experiencing right now. Maybe you recognize yourself here. You apologize for your feelings, not for your behavior, for your emotions. You over-explain yourself. You give 3 explanations before saying what you need. You constantly need reassurance that you're not overreacting. You feel small, confused, or guilty after contact with your family, without being able to say why. You stay in relationships where you no longer trust yourself, not because you're weak, but because self-doubt feels familiar. And when you later end up in narcissistic dynamics, that old doubt works like a lever. Maybe you weren't manipulated. Maybe you were conditioned into confusion. And maybe it started very early. But to understand why it affects you this deeply, we need to go back to the beginning. Section 2. Why it goes so deep. A partner distorts what happened. He denies what was said. But you had a reference system before him. You knew what was real, before he questioned it. With parents, it's different. Your parents were your reference system. They taught you what feelings mean, what's appropriate and what's not, what's real and what's just in your head. When those people tell you, that's not what happened. You're overreacting. You're imagining things. You don't just doubt one event, you doubt your ability to trust your own perception. In psychology, there's a term for this: epistemic destabilization. It means you don't just lose memory, you lose orientation. You lose trust in your own ability to know what's true. And this doesn't happen overnight. It happens over years, quietly, consistently, invisibly. And the most insidious part? The words that shaped you didn't even sound harmful. Section 3. Phrases that sound harmless. Parental gaslighting rarely sounds like manipulation. It sounds like parenting, sometimes even like care. You've always been so sensitive. This turns your emotional experience into a personality flaw. It doesn't say, that situation was a lot. It says, that's just who you are. That never happened. This sentence invalidates your memory, not necessarily on purpose, sometimes because the memory doesn't fit the image the family needs to maintain. I only ever wanted the best for you. This sentence shifts the focus from what happened to the intention behind it. But intention doesn't erase impact. Other kids would have been grateful. This kind of sentence doesn't just minimize your pain, it invalidates it. And here's something important. Some of these phrases don't come from cruelty. They come from overwhelm, from insecurity, from patterns the parents inherited themselves. Many parents repeat what they experienced, without knowing it. But for a child, it makes no difference. A child can't tell the difference between "mom doesn't mean it" and "my feelings are wrong." The result is the same. You learn that your perception can't be trusted, and your nervous system stores, "my own signal is not reliable." This is a form of emotional neglect, but it's not just words. Sometimes it's an entire family system. Section 4. An example many will recognize. Imagine a family. A father, professionally successful, rarely home. When he is, he's distant, sometimes critical, sometimes just absent. The child feels it. Tension, uncertainty, the feeling of not being enough. But the mother says, "We have a good life. Dad works hard for us. Don't be so sensitive." The words say one thing, the child's body feels another. The child is caught between two realities, the spoken one and the felt one. When the two don't match, the child loses trust in itself. In psychology, this is called a double bind. The child learns, don't trust what you feel, trust what you're told, and no one in this family is acting out of malice. The father is overworked. The mother is trying to hold the family together. Both may be doing their best, but the child still pays the price. And this pattern follows them into every friendship, every relationship, every job. And this pattern doesn't just live in your memory, it lives in your body. Section 5. What it does to your nervous system. Children who regularly experience their perception being corrected don't just develop self-doubt. Their nervous system learns something profound. When your body raised an alarm, and the most important person in your life said, "There's no reason for that," your nervous system learned that its own alarm could not be trusted. You don't ask, "What do I feel?" You ask, "Am I allowed to feel this?" Psychologists call this self-monitoring. You constantly scan, "Is this okay? Is this too much?" You monitor whether your reaction is appropriate, whether you have the right to feel hurt, not because you're insecure, but because you learned that your inner life is something that needs to be checked, and the consequences follow you. You stay too long with people who aren't good for you, because you don't trust your own discomfort. You let others convince you that you're overreacting, because you've believed that since childhood. Parental gaslighting doesn't end when you leave home. It moves with you. So how do you recognize something that was always your normal? If you recognize yourself in this, hit like. It helps others whose childhood felt normal on the surface find this video. Section 6. How to recognize it, even looking back. Many people only recognize these patterns as adults, often through a trigger, a therapy session, a conversation with someone who experienced something similar, or a moment of sudden clarity. There are 3 questions that can help. Are there memories your family tells completely differently? Not nuances. Fundamentally different versions. Events you experienced that supposedly never happened. If this happens regularly, it's not a bad memory. It's a pattern. Do you regularly feel confused after contact with your parents? Small. Unsure. Guilty. Not because of something you did, but because of something you felt. After healthy contact, you feel clearer, not smaller. Have you learned to apologize for your feelings? Not for your behavior, for your emotions. If you learned that sadness, anger, or disappointment are things you need to justify, then someone taught you that your inner life is a problem. Your inner life is not a problem. It was just never allowed. One important truth: your perception was always real. If you recognized yourself in this video, I want to tell you something. You're not crazy. You never were. You're someone whose sense of reality was shaped by the people who should have protected it. Maybe they couldn't give you what you needed, not because they were bad people, but because they didn't have what they would have needed to pass on. Recognizing that is not betrayal. It's self-respect. You don't have to hate your parents. You don't have to confront them. You don't even have to understand everything. You just get to start doing one thing: trusting your own perception again. Your body has always told you the truth. Your memory was not faulty. Your feelings were not exaggerated. They were a signal, not a problem. And if you begin trusting your perception again today, you're breaking a pattern that may have been passed down for generations. You are not the pattern. You are the person who sees it. If you want to understand how gaslighting escalates step by step, watch The 5 Stages of Gaslighting. If you want to see how gaslighting works specifically in relationships, watch Gaslighting in Relationships. And if you want to go deeper into the patterns that form in family systems, our series on toxic family dynamics is the next step. Subscribe if you want clarity, not blame. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. Clarity is the first step to freedom. The child you once were deserves to hear someone say, "You were right. It was real."